is here. Mina Osoro, our award-winning Osoro.
Award-winning.
He's going to read the tweets. Of course, DJ is here, so it's all about just great tunes and some big tunes. Okay, so now let's get started with our guests on the show. I told you tonight we are very fortunate to be hosting one of the reps from Singleton, my good friend Dan Obura. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, oh, there it is. This will be good. This will be good.
This
will be very good. Yeah. All right, so now let's start things off. This is, of course, about the event Man Cave, which is all about manhood. Yeah. How can you define manhood? What is it to you? What does it mean to you?
Well, manhood is more of a leadership role. Yeah, within the society. This is now for all the gentlemen out there. It's about, speaking up your mind, taking the lead, and just like, being proactive within the society.
Yeah. Lead. Very important. I like that you said that. Tell me about the Singleton mentorship. What's that about?
So we are in the space of ideally, networking. That is one, and ideally just creating opportunities. This is now for men out there. We've realized, like you see, when a lot of guys, when they actually get into this is now the space in terms of the job market. So they're basically skills and techniques like, people actually don't get. This is not from school. So the mentorship ideally allows you to ideally acquire these skills. This is not from the people you interact with. That is one. And also, like, try and make you understand, like, what the job market ideally has to offer. Yeah.
Well, when we talk about men in general, how can you say they let loose or they let out steam? And how can Singleton help with that? Because there are very few things that you engage in to let out steam. You sure don't talk as much as you should and share with your friends. So what would you say?
Well, the different ways in which men actually let off steam. I think one is the gym, going out, like, for your walk, hanging out with your friends, like, having that conversation. And I think for men, as in you said it, we really don't talk most of the time. But see, actually being out there, out of, like, your confined space, this is now in the house, it allows you to ideally get your mind, to wander, sometimes, and just, like, try and find that peace in which you actually seek. Yeah.
Well, there's the upcoming event, Man Cave. What can you tell us about it?
So I think if there's one thing I'd like to highlight, there will be a Singleton experience. Yeah. Over and above, like, the mentorship people would be expecting to see and basically network. You'll basically be getting, like, a connoisseur taking you through, like, the taste notes of the Singleton. That is one. And then now, like, finding ways in which you can actually pair, like, the brand with, like, your different types of meals. Over and above that, you'll get a lot of personalities. This is now men within the industry who've ideally made it, holding hands with, like, the people who actually want to understand, like, how they actually made it, how hard it was, how easy it was, like, the life hacks that are actually there. So it's going to be, like, a wholesome experience over and above, like, sipping.
Other than just sipping and eating, they go hand in hand. But there will be a lot of talking. There will be a lot of vulnerability, which is something that we don't see men do often. You should just know how to live, how to provide, how to protect, how to be a husband, how to be a father. And no one is talking to you about these things. And I'm just so thankful that NTV came up with, the Man Cave and just brings all of these men together. Why did Singleton choose rather to be a part of this event?
Basically, we saw an opportunity. This is now with Man Cave, and you see, for us, it's all about empowerment. Empowerment. This is now from the general setting. This is now of being a man. So if I would basically expound it in terms of how it ideally comes to life, is men rarely put themselves in a position to be vulnerable. Yeah, and we're not saying that, you know, be vulnerable, like, you know, in public or anything, but you see the vulnerability,
yes.
yeah, allows you to ideally get in touch with your inner self. Yes. This is not as a man, and just, like, you know, bring out those inner instincts that, you know, can make you seek, like, you know, the goals you want in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not just mwenjoyo, kujibamba all the way. Responsible drinking is also something very, very important to EABL. Tell me more.
So we really advocate, as you said, this is not for responsible drinking, and we have messages that ideally go out in regards to, like, you know, pacing your drink, having a meal, and we highly advocate, like, you know, if you're out with your friends and with your boys, take a taxi, you know, and if there is an opportunity of someone who is not actually drinking, they can be the designated driver. Yeah. Yeah,
very important. Space out your drinks. You know, make sure you eat well before. Yeah. It's people go crazy. Like, this is the last Saturday ever in the world. And you know, but it's very important for you to drink responsibly. Thank you so much, Dan.
Thank you.
So you will be there?
I will be there.
Okay.
I will be there. With part of the team mentoring, like, you know, any gentleman or young person who would like to learn more about, you know, the brand and me.
And you. Singleton and Dan, you get both. You get to be a connoisseur, and at the same time you get to learn more about Dan Obura. Thank you so much. Now remember, you cannot consume alcohol if you're under 18. Let's just get that very straight. And excessive consumption of alcohol is harmful to your health. As we finish up with Dan, we're about to take a quick break. When we get back, okay, we're going to be talking to the Real Housewives of Nairobi. That cast is going to be very entertaining. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back.